Hey, what's up guys, it's Azai here, and today I'm going to be doing a follow-up video to yesterday's drone testing video. If you haven't seen that yet, I recommend you check it out first, as it will give you some context as to the rankings I put in this video. For brevity, I'm going to really quickly knock out all of the Tier 1 and Tier 2 drones. None of these drones are worth investing any microchips into, and honestly, I think Pixonic should have made them available for silver. If you're a new player, these drones are all a trap. Do not buy any of them, and they're all in Z tier for the purposes of this tier list, because of how little they have to offer. With all that being said, let's get started with the real tier list. Starting off with Octanian, this drone doesn't really offer anything but its machine gun. The power of the lockdown is only enough to fully lock anybody if all shots hit, which is really unlikely to happen in a real battle scenario. Because of that, we can basically ignore that the lockdown ability even exists, and by my calculation, that leaves us with a drone that has nothing to offer but a gun that's slightly worse than Wasp's. Because of how little this drone has to offer, I chose to put it in F tier. The eye is similar to Octanian, possessing a slightly weaker machine gun with a longer reload. However, the key to eye is its death marking ability. The 10% damage boost for free is absolutely incredible, making eye a solid contender in A tier. Nebula is sort of an inverse of eye, providing defensive abilities rather than offensive ones. This is the only drone that can provide an absorber shield. However, it requires you to take a massive amount of damage in order to activate. Still though, considering all the rest of the absorbers are gone, Nebula is your best bet, so I'm putting it in A tier, and it's my top pick for tanks. The Wasp is next up, and this drone is basically the same as Octanian. However, the Wasp's gun is very slightly better, but not by much. For the same reason as Octanian, I put it in F tier. However, it's a little better than Octanian. I'd say it's viable on scout bots, but I can think of another drone that does the same job better. Persephone provides a weak self-heal and a weak ally heal as its whole ability, and that's somewhat underwhelming. The whole drone is something like a mechanic seal, and while it's touted as the support drone, the healing is too minuscule to really count. Regardless, mechanic is a worthwhile skill for some playstyles, and for that reason, I put Persephone in C tier. Ironheart is an incredibly good drone now, as it provides protection against blast and freeze with no cooldown. That's right, if you have this drone equipped, you can never be blasted or frozen, and not only that, you have a massive advantage against opponents using blast or freeze, because Ironheart will give you defense whenever they fire at you at all. For that reason, Ironheart is a solid A tier pick. Patron provides protection against blind, as well as a stealth whenever someone attempts to blind you. Unlike Ironheart, the protection is not permanent and has a 20-second cooldown. However, considering the extreme meta status of blinding weapons as well as Angler, a blinding robot, this drone is our first entry into S tier, and it's my top pick for anti-Titan robots. Whiteout is incredibly good, and it's the drone that I mentioned when talking about Wasp. Its EMP and decent area of effect damage, alongside a heal when taking high damage, makes it this an S tier drone and my top pick for scout robots. Glider provides some buffs when using phase shift, as well as defense on low durability. While Glider's buffs are nice, they're unfortunately locked to phase shift, so this drone gets in a B tier ranking. Paralysis provides a whole slew of benefits with damage and defense buffs when using repair kits in addition to its signature lockdown. The drone is one of the best in the game, going to S tier and being my top pick for general attacker robots. Beak's stealth abilities are no joke, allowing for a very long period of time where you are stealthed, and not only that, but the stealth can be reactivated after a cooldown. Beak goes into S tier, no argument. Armadillo's signature defense perks still exist, but the rest of its perks are subpar. Despite this, the snowball effect Armadillo's main perk can provide your bot keeps it in S tier. Reviver is up next, and while its ability to bring you back to life is great, the inability to repair gray damage holds it back from being a tank's best friend. Reviver is C tier for me. Barrel only really does something when you're dead or about to die, which is obviously no good. There's a good reason Pixonic chose this drone to give us for free. It belongs in D tier. Finally, Daltoki. Who would have guessed the newest drone would be the best in the game? The drone provides a powerful built-in weapon, as well as massive speed and damage boost when using modules. Daltoki is my #1 pick for snipers, however, it's incredibly good on any robot due to its high stats. This drone has a one-way ticket to S tier without even trying.